Enter into the world of L36 and dive into the power of storytelling. We bring together a community to discover what captivating tales can teach us, and use the adventure to inspire greater insight into mental well-being. Join us for an enriching exploration. Anosognosia is a neurological disorder in which one becomes unaware of a disability or disease. The majority of cases occur in schizophrenia, and it's believed to be caused by a disconnection between the cognitive part of the brain and the higher-level motor functions. Another cause can be damage from stroke, trauma, or tumor. Anosognosia in film. This lack of awareness can be seen in many films. In the movie The Machinist, the world revolves around Christopher Nolan's protagonist Christian Bale, who is a carpenter and is suffering from anosognosia. Anosognosia is a neurological disorder in which one becomes unaware of a disability or disease. When he has a mishap on the job, he tells his supervisor that he was fine. Bale's character exhibits clinical anosognosia, showing little awareness of his injuries, despite being told by others that it is obvious that he has been hurt. In the movie Shutter Island, Leonardo DiCaprio's character suffers from anosognosia. He is unaware of his hallucinations and does not realize that he has been in an institution for years. This leads to his eventual demise when he believes that he is with his wife. The story of The Machinist takes place in a small town named Camp Pendleton, and the story follows Christopher Nolan's character as he becomes obsessed with a woman named Jennifer, played by Michelle Williams. He is unaware that he is losing his grip on sanity and the world around him. His insanity becomes evident when he begins to imagine himself having a chat with a coworker. The movie does not offer much in terms of treatment or whether or not Christopher's character should be institutionalized for his safety. In the movie A Beautiful Mind, Russell Crowe portrays John Nash as a schizophrenic mathematician who believes that there are conspiracies surrounding him. He shows little to no awareness of his delusions, although he has spent his whole life as a mathematician. Techniques filmmakers can use to help audiences understand their characters' conditions. Some of the techniques used to show anosognosia in the film include camera angles and lighting. In The Machinist, a lot of the shots were done at high angles, making the audience look down on the character. This suggests how Christian Bale's character feels about himself. A similar technique is used in Shutter Island, with Leo's character being filmed from low angles to make him seem more powerful and less vulnerable. In The Machinist, light is used to create mood and symbolize his state of mind. The majority of the shots are in dark settings, while the hospital scenes are filmed under bright fluorescent lights. Actor Christian Bale's character has no awareness of reality, and he is unaware of his illness. The shots that take place in his house or apartment are dimly lit, with only a few lights on to suggest how he sees the world. The mindset of the protagonist. The Machinist uses anosognosia to create sympathy for Christian Bale's character. The viewers feel sorry for his unfortunate situation and admire his ability to function in the same capacity as they do. Even though Christian Bale's character is going insane, he holds down a job at a local machine shop. He keeps his illness a secret from his coworkers, although it is obvious that he is having hallucinations. Christopher Nolan's character has a breakdown at work and gets into an argument with a coworker. During the argument, he has a hallucination in which he is talking to another coworker. The other coworker cannot see or hear him. This causes the audience to feel sorry for him because they can see he is suffering, and they can see he is unaware of his state of mind. The movie Shutter Island uses anosognosia differently. Leo's character is unaware that he has been in a mental institution for years and thinks that everything around him is real. He believes that he is a government agent who has been assigned to find a missing patient. He is unaware of his illness, and though he may be delusional, he believes that everything around him is real. The audience does not feel sorry for him because they know the truth about his situation. The character in A Beautiful Mind shows symptoms of anosognosia and schizophrenia by becoming delusional and having hallucinations. John Nash begins to believe that people are plotting against him and that the FBI, CIA, and KGB are conspiring against him. When he begins to have these delusions, the audience can see that his mental state is deteriorating. However, the audience does feel sorry for him because of his diagnosis and the fact that he is a brilliant mathematician. The Machinist uses anosognosia to create sympathy for the protagonist. Although Christopher Nolan's character has a mental illness and is delusional, we understand why he acts the way he does by using certain techniques in filmmaking. Christopher is struggling to deal with a love interest who is dying. He wants to make a better life for her and believes that if he can make his dreams come true, his life will be more valuable. The audience can see the pain and struggle that Christopher's character goes through as he tries to make his passion a reality. He has no idea of how serious his condition is and how often it could get worse. The symptoms of his anosognosia are so obvious that it causes the audience to feel sympathy for him. In Shutter Island, there is little to no sympathy for DiCaprio's character, because he is aware of his anosognosia and therefore the audience does not have time to develop a relationship with him. The movie takes place in a hospital and the majority of shots are filmed in isolation rooms. There is no conversation between characters, which leads to a lack of development when it comes to creating relationships between characters. In the scenes filmed in the psychiatrist's office, Leo can be seen lying on a couch while looking into a camera. This is about his delusions that he has been talking to someone in the room. He believes that everyone around him is conspiring against him and that CIA agents are trying to silence him. In the movie, Leo's character does not mind his diagnosis, and he does not care about what people think of his illness because he knows the truth about his condition. Shutter Island uses anosognosia to create situations that are equal to the protagonist's mental condition. Christopher Nolan chose this setting because he felt it would be a great setting for his characters to be isolated and confused, as in his case. The setting is a hospital where all of Leo Frank's classmates died, which causes him to believe that everyone is conspiring against him. He believes that cameras are pointed right at him, so he can't do anything without being recorded, and it causes his delusions to continue. How to overcome anosognosia? To overcome anosognosia, one must first be aware of their condition. An unconscious individual cannot confront their illness, so they cannot work to overcome it. It is not until one realizes that one might be suffering from an illness that one can seek help and try to recover. For example, in the film A Beautiful Mind, the main character John Nash was diagnosed with paranoid schizophrenia. Nash was aware of his illness, and he chose to not address it due to his success as a genius mathematician. He refused to work on medications that would be necessary for him to recover, so it was harder for him to overcome his illness. In Shutter Island, DiCaprio's character Frank is diagnosed with paranoid schizophrenia and delusional psychosis. Although he is aware of his condition, he refuses to help himself. He thinks that if he finds out why he was in the hospital and what happened to his wife, then everything will be fine, so he does not accept the diagnosis and does not seek help. In The Machinist, the protagonist's hallucinations are caused by sleep deprivation and psychological stress. The main character chose to hide from his love interest and work to become successful, so she would think of him as more than just a machine-human hybrid. He chooses not to seek help for his mental illness because he does not want her to know what he is going through. How did the characters overcome the dilemma with their mental health? In A Beautiful Mind, John Nash chooses not to accept his diagnosis of schizophrenia because he cannot deal with having an illness that was given to him against his will. To overcome his anosognosia, he needed to make an effort to seek help and work on his medications. In Shutter Island, Leo Frank's character does not accept the diagnosis of schizophrenia and delusional psychosis because he feels that it is his fault for not solving the murder of his wife. He does not want her to think poorly of him, so he continues to hold on to this delusion. To overcome his condition, he must accept the truth of his illness and choose to seek help. Although the protagonist's illness in The Machinist is related to psychological stress and lack of sleep, it is most likely caused by anosognosia. His hallucinations were so bad that he could not recognize how serious his condition was. To overcome his anosognosia, he must accept this. By accepting his condition as a form of schizophrenia, he can work on getting better. Importance of empathy in cinema. In cinema, it is important to create empathy for the audience. The way an audience relates to a character is based on how they depict their mental illness. Anosognosia causes the audience to sympathize with the protagonist in the movie because of how much he struggles with his illness. The film can teach us about anosognosia and how we can overcome our tendencies to deny what we know about ourselves. How does empathy create a more powerful experience for viewers? In the movie A Beautiful Mind, the viewer feels sympathy for the main character because he is aware of his condition and fights to get better. The audience does not feel empathy towards his illness because it was given to him without his knowledge, and he does not accept that fact. It is only when he accepts that anosognosia could have a part in causing his problems that we begin to see empathy. In the movie Shutter Island, the viewer does not feel empathy towards Leo's character because he does not accept his diagnosis. Even though we understand that he is aware of his illness, we do not feel sympathy for him because he refuses to seek help. It is only when he accepts his anosognosia and chooses to work on getting better that we begin to sympathize with him. In the movie The Machinist, the viewer does not feel empathy for the protagonist because he chooses to hide his problems from his love interest. Since we understand that she does not know about his condition, we do not feel true sympathy for him until he decides to tell her and seek help. In summary, schizophrenia and anosognosia are common themes in cinema, and their portrayals can create different effects on the viewer. Anosognosia causes sympathy and empathy for the viewer because it is an illness that is often given to a character without their knowing. It can also lead to frustration or anger when a character does not accept their illness, but in all cases, it creates powerful emotions for the viewer. Have you ever felt empathy for a character in a movie because they had an illness without their knowledge? Please like and subscribe to our channel. In addition, join the L36 community via the link below. Consider becoming a member for an opportunity to inform the creative process of filmmaking here at L36 Media. All film lovers are welcome. Together, we can tell stories that matter.